In this video, we're actually going to start looking at basically your basic functions and how they actually work, and how Excel is starting to become quite powerful. So it is the case where in terms of maths, you would normally calculate these out normally, and you've got your extra items that you would have added from your last task. But I don't want to find out what the total cost of this is. So our whole aim is to find out what our total cost is. But the very first thing that we can do is I want everyone to figure out what the cost of their item is. So if I was to buy 10 drink bottles at $2.50 each, what is that actually add up to on the register? So what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to go through a very simple process. If I actually type in equals, if I buy 10 of an item and then multiply it by $2.50 of the cost, it's actually going to cost me $25 for that product, or for those 10 products. So where we say cost, really that is on an individual cost basis. And again, I'm just making sure I resize things as I need them. The very next thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need the rubber duck, which again equals, times it by the actual cost. So again, I'm finding out those costs rather than actually doing it myself or even pulling out a calculator. I'm getting Excel to do the hard yards for me, and that is something that we really do need to do. So we're actually figuring out our cost across the board. So I'd like you to actually practice and learn how to do that for your remaining items. The other thing that we're actually going to do is we're actually going to look at the average cost. So what is the average cost? And to do average is the same way as doing sum. So let's first off find out what our total quantity is. So to find out what our total quantity is, so let's actually go through and write down, let's merge our cells and type in total quantity, and I'm just going to right align this so it's right up against where I want it to display, and I'm just going to put an outside border on that so it actually stands out. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually type in equals, and the function that I want to use is actually known as sum. It's one of the most common ones you use, and as I start to type it in, there's all these other variations that we probably won't touch too many on, but that very first one, and it even gives you a tooltip, adds all the numbers in a range of cells. So we already know what a range is in Excel, so sum is going to do that for us. If I type in sum and then open a bracket, so whenever we type our function in, we have to start what's in our function, what our function does inside brackets, and you'll see that it says number 1. What we can actually do is we can actually click number 1 is D3. I can then put a comma, click the second one, and you can see that this will actually take quite some time to go through. Now, not long, but it does still take time. So now I'm at the end, close my bracket, and it gives me 272 items if I was to add them manually. But that took me a while to do. So you can see that that formula at the top here is quite large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing just as a quick demonstration and just make that a bit quicker. So I'm going to go equal sum, same thing, open my bracket, and it's set of a range. And remember, a range can have the starting cell and the last cell. I'm just going to click and drag the starting cell and drag down to that last cell, and you can see that that range has been created. It's from D3 to D10. Close my bracket and hit enter, and it is the same number. That was a lot easier to do than this one here. Even though they do the same thing, there are easy ways to do things and hard ways to do things. So if it was me, I wouldn't actually use that at all, so I'll delete that out. And I'm just going to cut and paste. So you've got equals sum D3 to D10, and that is giving my value. So if I change the amount of paper we need, let's say 50, it updates that number straight away. Okay. Once you've actually done that, what I would like you to actually do is I would like you to find, and again I'm just formatting so you can see what I'm doing, total cost. Again, let's write a line, and I'm actually just going to alternate that color just slightly and go from there. We are also going to put in an average cost on this one here, and we're going to do that, but we will do that in a future lesson. Once you've actually finished, just to reiterate what you need to do, you need to go through and make sure you complete the rest of your costs, and also set up your total quantity and set up your formatting as well, ready for what we're about to do in our next video.